This will be a video for page 130 for 8th grade. In this section, we're going to be writing linear equations. These are going to be in slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form. That is the form y equals mx plus b. So we're going to have, like an example, our equation might be y equals 3x minus 4. So what we're given, we're going to be given like stories. These are all story problems. And we need to use that information to write an equation. As an example, like maybe I have $300 and I make $10 a day. So my B would be my initial value, or what I start with, and my slope is the change. So I started with $300 and my change was $10 per day. So in this case, I would have y equals 10x plus 300. That plugs right in. I have, in this equation, I have an input and an output. My input is what I would put into this equation to change the output, really. What I would enter into this equation is how many days. So I could say, okay, after 10 days, I should have $400. After 5 days, I should have $350 because 10 times 5 is 50 plus 300 is 350. So the input is the number that we're going to change. It's the variable that we choose. The variable that we choose. And the output is the variable that changes. And that depends on what our input was. So in this case, the output would have been our y. It would have been the amount of money we have at the end of that story. So let's look at number 1 here. Number 1 says Lee is making beaded necklaces. For each necklace, she uses 27 spacers. So she starts at 27 spacers no matter what, plus 5 beads per inch of necklace length. So when we see per inch, that's going to tell us this is our slope. It's 5 times however many inches. So how many inches do we have? We're going to have x inches. Write an equation to find how many beads Lee needs for each necklace. So our input variable, this is the thing that we choose. We're going to choose how many beads. Okay, 5 beads per inch. Well, we're going to choose how many inches. All right, and then the output is how many beads, and I'll explain that in a sec. How many beads? So if I do a 1-inch necklace, it's already going to have 27 spacers, and there's 5 beads per inch. So that's 1 inch adds 5 more. 2 inches would add 10 more. 3 inches would add 15 more. So our input is how many inches. This is what we are going to choose. How long do I want this necklace to be? And depending on how long it is, that chooses how many beads it'll have. So our equation is going to be y equals, it's 5 beads per inch plus, no matter what, we have 27 spacers. So this will be how many beads. The spacers are also beads. So y equals 5x plus 27. For number 2, Kate is planning a trip to the beach. She estimates her average speed to graph her expected progress on the trip. Write an equation in slope-intercept form that represents the situation. Choose 2 points on the graph and find the slope. So they gave us a graph here. At the very beginning of her trip, at 0 hours, okay, she has 300 miles until the beach. And then after 5 hours, She has 0 miles until the beach. So she's reached the beach. Okay. So I see a point right here that we can use. And I see a point right here that we can use. And those points, my x and my y, are going to be, we'll have 2 of them. And in a minute, we're going to look at the y change and the x change, and we're going to find the slope. Okay. So my x in the first one is actually my y-intercept is 0, 300. Okay, we can see that's right here. At 0, y is 300. And then at 5, y is 0. So we're going to use this table, and we're going to make our m is the change in y over the change in x. So the change in y, we're going down 300. Our change in x is we're going over by 5. Now we can simplify this. We're going to do 300, negative 300 divided by 5. I can get rid of this. And then, so 30 divided by 5, that's going to be 6. Make it negative because that's negative. And add my 0 that I scribbled out. That 0 goes right there. So this will be negative 60. And then it would be miles an hour. So this person's getting 60 miles closer every hour. Getting closer by 60, closer by 60, closer by 60, closer by 60, and then they get there after the last 60. The next part, read the y-intercept from the graph. Well, the y-intercept here, that's where our line crosses the y. That's at 300. So use our slope and use our y-intercept to write an equation. Y equals negative 60x plus 300. So at the beginning, they have to drive 300 miles, and then every hour they get 60 miles less on that distance until their beach. 60 miles less, 60 miles less. And after 5 hours, they get there. Kate has made it to the beach. For number 3, this one's going to be a little bit trickier. Okay, this one's not going to give us a lot of information. We're going to have to find a lot of information. So at 59 degrees Fahrenheit, okay, at 59, crickets chirp at a rate. So we've got an X and a Y. We're going to talk about what those are going to be in a minute. We need to decide which one's going to be X, which one's going to be Y. So at 59 degrees Fahrenheit, it's not a 9, 59 degrees Fahrenheit, crickets chirp at a rate of 76 times per minute. 76 times per minute. And then at 65 degrees Fahrenheit, crickets chirp at 100 times per minute. Per minute. Per minute. This is one label. It's just times per minute. Write an equation in slope-intercept form that represents the situation. So we need to decide what is the thing that we are changing and what happens after. What does that change? So the input variable, we're adjusting the temperature. We're not adjusting how many times these crickets are chirping. We're adjusting the temperature in this problem. We are putting in a temperature. So this is temperature. And our output is chirps per minute. Okay. So our input is going to be our X. So this is our temperature. And our output is chirps. All right. So we have 2 points, and we're going to use these 2 points to find our slope. Let me erase a little extra part of this table here. We have at 59 degrees Fahrenheit, they go 76 times. At 65 degrees Fahrenheit, they go 100 times. So we need to do, for the slope, m equals the change in y over the change in x. So the change in y looks like we're going up 24. Okay, up 4 to 80 and up 20 to 100. So it's a positive 24. And the temperature looks like it's going up by 6, which is equal to 24 divided by 6 is 4. So that will equal 4. Now we have the equation y equals mx plus b. we don't know what b is, and we need to find what b equals. We do know what m is. M is 4. We just calculated it. Now, in order to find this b, we're going to have to do a little work. This right here is an x and a y. This right here is an x and a y. We can use this one or this one. We can use either one, but what we're going to end up doing is this number right here, this 65, is going to go right here in where x is. And this 100, which is our y, is going to go right here. So we're going to have 100 equals 4 times 65 plus b. And we could have used this other point. I just like numbers 65 and 100 better. I think those are easier to work with. Okay. So we're going to be able to find out what our y-intercept is. We could choose any point on our line for this x and y. As long as we have our slope, we can use those two things to find our y-intercept. So let's see, what's 4 times 65 times 4? 5 times 4 is 20. 26 times 4 is 24, 25, 26. So I have 100 equals 260 plus b. I need to get rid of this 260 by subtracting 260, which will cancel it off, but I have to do it to both sides. 260. 100 minus 260, I like to think of a number line. Starting at 100, I'm going to go down 100 to 0. I'm going to go down another 160, because that's a total of 260, puts me at negative 160. So then b is negative 160 degrees. Okay, so we're starting at negative 160 chirps. Now, so let's fill in these blanks. Use the slope in one of the ordered pairs in y equals mx plus b to find b. So we changed it to 100 equals 4 times 65 plus b. And then we can solve that for b. We get negative 160. So our equation is y equals 4x minus 160. Kind of a lot of work there, but you could use this x and y, you could use this x and y. We're just plugging it into this x and this y to figure out what that missing variable b was. Explain what m and b in the equation y equals mx plus b tell you about the graph of the line. So b, 3 minutes. B is, it's our y-intercept, and it tells us our line, how about tells us where our line crosses y-axis. M, we know, represents slope, tells us the steepness of our line. All right, that's all I've got for this section. There's only 4 questions. I know number 3 was kind of crazy. I probably won't give you one on your homework that is that crazy, and if I do, I'll definitely give you some tools and assistance to help you out with it. That's all I've got.